Jog along, Bess, hop along, May, squeak along, Blue, it's a walk along day. It's a long road and weary are we. Bob along, kettle, and make a song some tea. Once there was an Afghan hound, loved by no one and pushed
Vashti Bunyan is an English singer-songwriter. She had a couple of singles in the mid-60s. And in 1967, she and her boyfriend bought a horse and wagon, which may have been a caravan, horse-drawn caravan, and set off walking and riding from South London to the Isle of Skye to join an artist commune that had been set up by Donovan. She started to write songs during that journey. In 1969, they finally made it, only to find that the commune had been disbanded. They then settled on, I believe, in Berneray, but she certainly settled in Scotland long term. But she did return to London not long after to record 14 of these songs with members of the Incredible String Band and Fairport Convention and some others. This album was released and it got good reviews, but didn't do particularly well in sales. In fact, not well at all. She got despondent and abandoned her music career, settling down to a life in Scotland and raising some kids. During that time, however, unknown to her, her album became a rare collector's piece, some copies selling for thousands of dollars. So from about 2000 on, somebody contacted her, another musician, and her career has been restarted. She has had collaborations and concerts and released two more albums. It's one of the biggest career breaks that I've come across of this 30-year break between her first career and her second career. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is that first album that was released, kind of that ended her first part of her career, and this is my first encounter with her. So I didn't know who she was. I haven't come across her before, and seeing the name, I assumed she was from the Indian subcontinent, but I was wrong. And it shows how dangerous it is to make assumptions. So I would describe this as folk, despite the fact that she would have said, or she has said, that she doesn't think she's folk. I would describe it as that not because of the subject matter or the fact that or that it has used old songs, because it hasn't. It's because of the sound to it, and the aesthetic is very strongly, I would say, folk. So it's based around her singing on an acoustic guitar, and there's lots of other instruments, and they are things like fiddle, mandolin, harp, banjo, recorder. There's quite a bit of recorder on here, keyboards, and then that classic folk instrument, the trumpet, makes a small appearance as well. And these are played by various well-established musicians on this album. But the focus really on here is definitely backing, and the focus is on her singing, and she has an interesting voice because it's kind of sweet and gentle, and she kind of whispers into the microphone. It's really kind of unassuming. She can sing. She gets some really nice clear notes, but she doesn't belt it out. It kind of feels shy. But it also, as a result, makes it feel really intimate and very much like she's just singing for you, and you're in a small room together. I kind of can imagine it being recorded, just her and a guitar and a microphone close up, and she's singing into this microphone. So the songs, this is what I mean. So the aesthetic's nice, and I enjoyed that, but it was the songs that really made it for me. So what I do, I'm sorry for those of people who are regulars of mine. I've done this loads of times, but I'll tell you my process, or a little bit of it, which is that I listen once without having read up on an album or an act to try and get as blind a listen as possible. So that I'm not swayed by any understanding that I get. And then I do my reading, and then I do a second listen. It's not always quite as straightforward, compartmentalized as that, because the way that I work sometimes means there's bits of overlap. But that is what happened this time round. And so all the stuff about the journey that she was on that was in the introduction to the act was stuff that I didn't know when I first listened to the album. So the first impression that I got is that they're kind of pastoral, gentle songs, almost kids' songs, very family friendly and light. And I'm going to now throw in the word naive and then explain what I mean. So naive is a word that's often taken as a kind of negative to mean somebody uh, who's just not kind of aware of um, stuff going on around them, where possibly somebody who is vulnerable to being manipulated. But there is a very positive use of the word naive, which is a deliberate rejection of cynicism and of kind of darker side of things, and an embracing of kind of the innocent side of life. And this is definitely that. It's got that kind of feel to it, which is it was a feel that was around, particularly in the kind of what you might call the hippie folk stuff in the 60s and moving into the psychedelic stuff. And some of the psychedelic stuff, the kind of the fantastical side of things there was, if you think about some of Sid Barrett's songs, for example, talk about a gnome and a bicycle, and it's everyday life but kind of light-hearted. And this has that in absolute bucket loads. It's got that kind of feeling. Fast forward in my experience of this, and then once I'd read about it and knew about the journey, I actually got quite a lot more out of the album knowing about the journey, and can see how what he's talking about is a lot about just their day to day life as they're traveling. One of my favourite songs is "Jog Along Bess," which I've probably put a little bit of that at the start of the review. And it's her talking to a horse, and I think to two particular dogs, and just talking about their everyday experiences. And you're talking about 10 more miles today. That I think that's in a different song, and just the places that they visit, and it's got this real kind of, again, that word naive, but gentle view of a simple life that they chose, and they chose it to get away from the kind of complicated modern life, and to reduce down their worries to, where's some food coming from for the horse, for us, where are we going to get to today, what's it going to be like. Um, Even one of my favourite tracks on the album, Timothy Grubb, which seems to be about animals, has references to the caravan. So it's all, yeah, it kind of all fits together when you know what's going on here in a way that many albums don't have that very distinct change in understanding from them. So it's very charming. It's almost utterly charming, I would say. And I've used this word naive again. I'm going to throw it in. It's very much this kind of thing. It's 14 short songs, so it's quite a short album, and I loved it. I really enjoyed it. So at this point, as always, I'm going to invite you to tell me what you think of this album. If you know it, if you don't know it, and it sounds interesting, go away and have a listen, and then let me know what you think. See if you agree with me with my review. I'm always up for people disagreeing with me. I love it when we get to discussion or comparing ideas. It's quite a nice community I've got on my channel. So thank you guys, the regular commenters. Join us, come and be a regular commenter and be part of this journey that I'm on. So after the advertising, I'm going to tell you, another advert. So the next review that I'm going to be doing for the channel is of Argus by Wishbone Ash. But that's it from me for now.
Morris Snail and Timothy Grubb, Swanee and Blue and Emily Grubb decided one day to go